the floor for public comment. Is there any public comment in the room that I can see? Nope. All right, none. Is there any online?
There's none online.
Okay. Close public comment and return to it at the end of the meeting, which brings us to our student report.
Hello. So we have a lot that's been going on at LHS. So student council is still working with administration on reviewing the restorative justice. So there's some changes that will hopefully be coming soon. So either I'll talk about it or administration will come and talk about it. So we're excited about that. The annual senior versus staff basketball game is happening this Friday at Advisory. So I'm very excited about that. I'll be repping. So. And then the senior tea as well is happening tomorrow, and senior lunch is happening Friday. And then spring sports are in season, and they finally started. And Spring Fest is also coming up, so student council has been working on that and to plan that. And then prom is next month at the beginning, and as well as AP tests are in a couple weeks, so students have been working hard to prepare for that. And some student council members will be participating in the LMS podcast interview. So we're happy that we're included and we get to help LMS and their students. And then as well as Interact Club on Friday, we'll be going to Mascoma and teaming up with their Interact Club and hosting an event of Rise for Hunger. So we'll be making bags and giving them to people in need.
Great, thanks. Does anyone have any questions for Nora? When is prom exactly? You know?
I believe it's May 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's
All
a
right.
Saturday. I don't know if that's May 10th, but
That's all right.
somewhere around there. It's like the beginning of next month. So
All right, very busy. Thank you for reporting. We appreciate it.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay, correspondence.
There is none.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda. We need motions to approve various minutes.
I will make a motion to approve the public hearing minutes from April 9th, 2025.
Seconded.
Okay, motion by John, second by Richard. Are there any corrections, changes? Okay. All right, all those in favor? All right.
I will make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from April 9th, 2025.
All right.
Seconded.
Okay, a motion by John, second by Richard. Are there any corrections? Okay.
6:31, not 6:01. I didn't I saw them today. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. So there is one correction at least.
Under 7B, I think the motion was to acknowledge resignations and retirements.
Okay, any other changes?
Under 8B, the governor's last name ends in E.
Yes. Yep.
And I think our motion under 15 for non-public should be RSA 91A32L, I believe it was.
Okay. Great, thank you. Any other correction? Okay. All those in favor? Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the non-public meeting minutes from April 9th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, motion by John, second by Richard. Any changes to those?
Same under the RSA 91A32L. And I don't know if we want to update Karen's title as it was approved earlier in that meeting to be something different.
Okay. Great. Any other changes? Okay, all those in favor? Okay. We don't have any nominations or resignations, so that will bring us to the superintendent's update.
Good evening. I have a very brief update tonight, as last week was a vacation week. First, I spoke to Attorney O'Shaughnessy, who informed me he does not believe the ACLU is looking for any other school partners for the lawsuit, but he will keep us updated if that changes. Second, we have general assurances that need to be signed by June 1st. I have sent them to legal because there are significant changes from the general assurance from last year to this year, specifically citing 2 executive orders that I think it's going to be difficult for us to immediately comply with without some serious conversations and some significant changes to operations. So it is with our attorneys. I'm hoping to provide an update at our May meeting, so we'll give us some additional time. As I said, they're not due to the state until June 1st. We have to sign general assurances to get federal funds. So it's a process that we do every year. So I wanted just to update you with them. Every district in the state is sort of grappling with us currently. Next, we have a director of adult education starting on Monday. His name is Colby Price. He will be replacing Deb Blaffin, who is retiring at the end of the year. Colby has been working in adult ed in Spain for the last, I think, 25 years, and has moved back to the States, and we're excited to have him be a part of our team. Probably in the beginning of next year, I'll have him come do an update to this board to talk about adult ed. I know it is something that we don't cover as much, and I want to make sure that information is covered for you as well. Director of Communication and Community Relations interview are May 1st. We have 6 candidates that will be interviewing, so we're excited about that. And finally, I just wanted to remind everyone to check the district calendar. There are tons of events going on at every school at the end of the year, so if you would like to attend, please show up to attend. There's lots of exciting things going on. That concludes my report for this evening. Do you have any other questions for me?
So at the May meeting, we're going to, you're going to give us a report on the general assurances changes, or I'm just trying to figure out. Like,
I'm gonna. We're working now on a side by side.
Okay.
And then we're going through the executive orders. One of them is a DEI executive order. I don't have the
Okay.
number off the top of my head. The other one is related to gender identity. Those 2 orders, we would have to look at all of our mission statements, policies, procedures, forms, documentations, bathrooms. So with the current ACLU lawsuit, districts are kind of in a holding pattern. So
Okay.
I do want to have the discussion with this board if we don't have any clarification with legal by then. But I will share those documents with you with the side by side. So.
Okay, great, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, all right. That brings this is an update.
Good evening. And for the new board members, I do provide a financial update, basically when the budget process ends, like November through April or so, so you know where we stand financially. And probably the most important part of it is getting ready for a discussion in May about if we have funds left, what we're going to, things like that. So the format, can you hear me? If I get too close, it gets all splatty. So anyway, the format that we've been using is listing the budget by functional area. These are the major areas according to New Hampshire education funding and how kind of the budget breaks out. Underneath each one of these functional areas is what they call an object code. So like there'll be a supply code for regular education, a supply code for special education, and on. But that's 1,000 lines, so we just stick with the functional areas here. So what's before you is through March 31st, which is the last month that is closed. As I said in my narrative, we ended up actually through March, we're a little ahead of last year, which was surprising. So we're at 93.64% expended. Last year in March, we were 94.78% expended. So that's good. The other thing that I noted here is that at April break, the word goes out that purchase orders should be done for the year. It's obviously a soft sort of guidance because there's always odds and ends that come up, but the idea is that you should have already reserve the money you need to spend for the rest of the year to a pretty good degree, because now I need to start compiling so you guys know how much, I can give you a picture of how much money might be unexpended and therefore it could be spent. So that's where we are. That was right before April break. And what we'll be doing now, between now and May, is making sure that everybody's purchase orders are basically done, and then I'll put a picture together of what the expenditure budget was, what we've spent, and what we expect to spend. Subtraction is how much money might be left to consider some other projects and stuff, maybe things that weren't put in the budget, or other things that have come up. And we have a list of about 9 things right now, John and I. So, yeah, at the bottom of this, so the top part is the budget, and the bottom is not additional. Those are just breakouts of things above, and they're just what I try to keep an eye on. A negative can mean a couple things. It could be that we hired someone or a couple people more than the person that they replaced. Could be a budgeting error on my part, and they move some money around. But I typically try to leave it. I try to address significantly big issues, but I try to leave it so we can actually see, did I miss budget? Did we miss something? So, and then all this stuff gets tightened up through June as the books close. The books close completely in June 30th. So, I'll welcome your questions.
Any questions?
Thanks.
Okay, that brings us to, we have no unfinished business. Going to new business, got a bunch of policies, which brings us to you, Richard.
So we have a suite of policies to start off with that we're not actually, are we skipping the, oh yeah, so we need to suspend our typical procedures.
Yes, we need to suspend the rules to bring these right to the board because these laws have gone into effect. They're all related to Title IX. So these were just provided by our legal counsel. Policy committee did have an opportunity to do one swipe at them, and it was recommended it would go to the full board.
So for this suite of, I believe it's 5 policies, AAC, ACAA, ACAA-R, ACAB, and ACAB-R, as well as with the withdrawal of ACAA-R2 and ACAB-R2. So for those policies, we're going to suspend procedures. I guess I need a motion to that effect, so I move that we suspend our typical procedures to expedite these changes.
Okay, so let's do that, and then we'll separate motions for approving and withdrawing. All right, so all those in favor of suspending our, I need a second, sorry. Second by John.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Richard, second by John, sorry, got ahead of myself. All those in favor? Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, so I then move, unless people have comments on these policies, these ones were drafted by our legal team, so there's not a whole lot I can really offer. This is kind of the way it has to be, but if you've got suggestions, we'll take them. But I guess we'll take them after the motion. I move that we accept policy AC, ACAA, ACAA-R, ACAB, and ACAB-R.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Richard, second by John. Are there any questions by anyone about these? So normally we'd have a lot to say, but we have very little to say about this because they've told us what they're going to do, so we can't make a lot of changes. All right, all those in favor? Great, thank you.
Okay, I move that we withdraw ACAA-R2 and ACAB-R2.
Second.
Okay, motion by Richard, second by John. Any additional questions? And we're withdrawing these because they've all been combined into something else and simplified, yeah.
The R2s are simply deprecated.
Okay, all right, all those in favor? Great, thank you. All right.
Okay, and next we have a series of policies. Do we want to, now I think there was one policy we wanted to pull out,
Yes,
10-0.
JLCF.
Yeah. It's
So-
under 10-0.
10-0, so we're gonna take 10-0 out of the mix.
Right,
For right now.
exactly.
It's going to go back to policy for a minute.
So with the exception of 10.0, does anyone have any policies that they want to talk about and have a look at?
I have a question about JJE and I have a question about IJ.
IJOA, the field trips and
Yep,
excursions?
I have questions about those. I asked them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So on JJ, my question was kind of in the second sentence, approval of the superintendent also want to or designate.
And this is in the new material, or, in the old material. All such fundraising activities require prior approval of the superintendent. I'm happy to include our designee if Amy is.
Yeah, it is in the bottom of the paragraph too, so.
Okay, I will second that. I'll make that right now.
Thank you.
I can.
Thank you.
So exciting. Other questions?
And then my question on IJOA was in the new section under overnight and international travel, second paragraph. The paragraph talks about the ratio of student chaperone for any overnight trip or international travel. My question is, do you want to add a phrase and appropriately background checked or something similar?
So designated volunteers, I believe, as I wrote, as governed by policy IJOC, and policy IJOC does include there are some fairly stringent requirements for designated volunteer school. Happy to pull that up on a second. Might be 2 seconds. It's not the fastest. Policy IJOC volunteers. No, that will need to be added. Some of the cross references are not links.
Yeah,
And
we're working on it.
so designated volunteer, as used in this policy, shall have the same definition as in board policy GBCD, background investigation and criminal records check. Before a person may volunteer in a position or perform a function falling within the definition of a designated volunteer, such person must undergo a background investigation and criminal history records check as described in policy GBCD. Additionally, as required by RSA 189-13A 12 and policy GBCE, all designated volunteers must receive training and information relative to child abuse prevention.
Hey, so what you're reading that policy? What are you reading?
So that is from policy IJOC,
Okay.
and so our IJOA,
So where does it reference
Do you
that?
reference,
chaperones for
yeah.
local trips shall consist of school staff members and designated volunteers as governed by policy
Okay.
IJOC.
That's
And
fine.
so my question is really about the fact that in the next section, overnight and international travel, we don't call that out.
Ah, okay.
And that's why.
That language can be replicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be absolutely sure, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. You know.
Anybody else have any other questions about these policies? So first readings, we usually, this is the time for you to say, that doesn't make sense, I don't understand, like, what is that, what are we talking about here, anything like that, because then we have a chance for it to go back to administration if we clarification before second read. If we don't have any questions, if we all understand everything, then we approve it, it'll come back the next, just as a point of,
Tim?
Looks like you're defining local trips as anything within states.
Well, to the point that you don't have to have an overnight trip, yeah.
anything you can get to without staying overnight. Because overnight is,
Okay, overnight is, okay.
overnight is separate.
I was worried about, like, sometimes you
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, if you can drive to Michigan and back in the same day, it gets to be local.
Then you don't have to have this
I-
policy.
I can't speak, I might hit the deer or something.
You know, maybe one day we'll get bullet trains, and then,
We would change it. That's a good question. And so, just as a clarification, GJFAB, we talked about that last time, so it's just coming forward for the first reading because we were talking about it.
Right, and the addition for GJFAB was to include language regarding our area agreement per our original discussion of this policy. This policy is not to cost the taxpayers and any direct funding, so we did add that, the language of area agreement in there.
So is the idea, so with this language, is the idea that if you admitted, superintendent has admitted a student elementary school and they're covered under the area agreement, that when they reach 5th grade, or technically terminate them from?
This would, that we would not admit anybody under the area agreement, and that was per our legal recommendation.
The new language is the school choice.
Yeah, that's
That's
what I'm-
This is the school choice language. We already did the area agreement language. This is the school choice language.
Yeah, it says, students from school choice districts shall have their application reviewed by the superintendent
Right.
at the
so
transition point.
The
So
idea is if
Right.
they have the ability to send them through the school choice agreement, we get sent
That's
the
different.
tuition money.
Right, so school choice, we have Croydon, Cornish, Weathersfield, Heartland. They're in school choice. So under our school choice, we are going to review the application, so we can take those students in the elementary, and then we would terminate. Because
Okay.
we have an area
Yeah,
agreement
sorry,
with,
that's the last
that's
paragraph of the
effectively
area
what I was, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I
Yeah.
apologize. That was what I was
Yeah.
trying to
No,
ask, was
plain-
like, so
yeah.
basically you would theoretically admit them and then technically terminate them because they're covered under, or because they would be covered under
school choice,
School
right. Different from
choice
our area agreement.
At that particular point, but not prior.
Right, and our area agreement supersedes this policy, so we could not admit them at all under there
I
because.
think I understand.
Okay. And as we watch those school open enrollment bills,
You have to
this
change it again.
policy potentially will
Oh,
become,
yeah. That's,
Moot.
yeah, we're
Null
gonna have
and
a lot
void.
of work ahead of us if we want to rewrite some policies after that point.
Yeah. All right.
I guess the other ones that are on here are GBEBE, which is a new policy modified from the NHSBA's recommended one. This is about employment of relatives or persons with romantic personal relationships. We focused mostly on disclosure over banning for the most part, but also on conflicts of interest. And we are tabling JLCF, the wellness policy, which is item NO, until pending further review by, I'm sorry, who was it? By Food Services.
All right, so I think so we just need a motion on those and then,
Okay, so I move that we move the policies in items 10H through N to second reading.
okay?
Second?
All right, motion by Richard, second by John, and I'm assuming we have no more questions. All right,
Just
all
as
those,
amended.
as amended, right? All those in favor? Great.
Do I need a motion to table JLCF?
you need a motion to send it back to policy.
Okay, I move that we send policy JLCF, the wellness policy, item 10O, back to policy committee for further work.
Okay.
Second?
All right, motion by Richard, second by John, and again, this is just because we want everyone to weigh in who is affected by the policy. All those in favor? Wait,
I'm sorry, I was just,
We're just
JLCF,
tabling- We're sending JLCF back to policy.
10,
yes,
oh.
sorry, apologies.
Yeah, okay, all those in favor, including Jessica. All right, excellent. Okay,
And then we reviewed 4 policies with incredibly minor changes that we didn't think required board approval. Those are EBCH and EBCH-1, the chemical safety and chemical hygiene plan and policy. Basically, the titles needed to be changed. The feminine hygiene products, that one, we changed the term gender-neutral bathrooms to single occupancy bathrooms. And then in BBAB, roles and duties of the board chair, we changed chairperson to chair and vice chairperson to vice chair. Again, things that we figured you guys didn't really care about. So those have been marked, reviewed. Do we need a motion to
Yeah.
accept? Can I please, I will move that we mark those 4 policies as reviewed.
Second?
all right. Any questions on those?
I have a
Yeah.
maybe not helpful question. Is there a reason in the JLCFA, the feminine hygiene, that females has been crossed out and women and girls has replaced it?
Yeah, typically females is a clinical term used for like animal research. And women and girls are the people.
Just to be a bit more humanizing?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
great. Just curious. Thank you.
Yeah.
I also had a question.
Sorry, every time someone says females, I get a picture of Ferengi in my head. Oh, you let your females wear clothes?
Go ahead,
Sorry.
John?
I also had a question on that one, and I just didn't know if we still also offered them in all the nurses' offices, and if we just wanted to
Oh.
include that. That has been the case in
We
the
do
district?
offer them in there, and I guess we can,
Is that not in the, if that's not in the policy?
It's not
I'll
in the
add it.
policy, and I just
Just
figured
as it's in the bathrooms, but we can add it. Good, that's a good catch.
it's always been that way.
But that is still a minor enough change that I think we can stick with the motion.
I will, sure that gets in there.
Okay. Any other questions on those? All right, so we're going to approve the review by policy. All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, now that brings us to you, is discussion and action on the board committee assignments. So you all have had your assignments, you've seen them, you've been to meetings already, but the board as a whole approves these assignments once we, just as a formality. So, and we forgot to do that before we started having meetings. But now we're going to do it now. So, we need a motion to approve board committee assignments.
I will make a motion to approve the board committee assignments for whatever they were dated,
24, 25.
24, 25.
All right, or 25, 26.
25,
25, 26.
Sorry. All right.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion by John, second by Richard, and question by Jessica.
Sorry. Were we striking contact information from?
Right. So we struck it from the website, and yes, we can strike it from this. This is normally an internal document, but we can get rid of it. Yeah.
It may be a.
Totally fine.
I would
will.
also appreciate not having my personal phone number on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it second.
There, I mean, I think that the only, do think it's, I don't know how we share it otherwise amongst the board, because I think it is useful to have it sort of amongst board
So I can just
members.
send an email
Yeah.
to the board with everybody's contact,
Okay.
which is fine,
That-
and we'll just take it off of the public.
Okay.
It's gone now. And we'll, yeah, Tim,
Thanks, Tim.
you know
Not
that you work
creepy
with
at all,
the
you're all right.
if you need your taxes, send them
Right.
to him. He'll do them
Yeah.
for you
I'm
for
pretty
free.
sure we can find all your
I
information.
was about to say, there's other ways to get our information, but okay. All right.
Records
Sure.
are public, too.
Okay, so we're back for public comment.
Wait, do we need to, I think we need to vote on.
Oh, we have to
that.
vote. We have to vote. I was just so excited. Are there any comments on that? Does anybody want to make any changes? Has anything come up since we last talked about this that we need to make some shifts? No? All right. All those in favor of the board committee assignments? Excellent. Thank you all. Now we're at public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? There is none. Is there any online?
There's none online.
Okay. That brings us to committee updates. Finance and Facilities met on April 21st.
Sure, yes, we sure did.
Okay.
We discussed, we reviewed the role of the committee on the board. Discussion about that. We also discussed the timing of reviewing, particularly the CIP relative to the budget cycle this fall. So I wanted to review the CIP and have discussions about it over the next few months so that we are prepared, so that we have already given our feedback on it to the administrators before the budget cycle starts. And we did some other stuff that I don't remember because I haven't seen the notes yet. Kevin, can you remind me what else we did?
We scheduled meetings.
We scheduled meetings, we elected a chair
Yep, and
and a secretary, and we talked about buildings.
we talked about a policy FBC.
Yeah.
I really need
And
to
we are going to, we need one more meeting to get
Oh,
our
yes.
feedback for you, so we'll go on to our June policy, which I took that.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
That was actually probably the most important thing that we
Yeah.
did. We did review that policy. We thought that it was great, and also we had some comments,
I'm sure
which
you
we are
did.
going to reflect on more and get back to you soon. Hopefully that is acceptable.
That's totally fine.
Great.
It's not an emergency.
We also presented some bid results.
We also did
Oh,
that.
okay.
I'm just going to crowdsource the finance facility stuff. Great.
Do we have the date for the next meeting?
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
think
say.
it's
The
May 19th at 4:30.
4:30.
Thank you.
Okay, and I didn't say this to you all and before you had your meeting, and I'm going to say it to everyone. This is for all committees. I would appreciate all committees if you, next time you meet, if you could go and make your meetings from now till the end of the school year. Plot them out so that we can publish them and they'll actually know and they'll be on the calendar. So it's not always possible to do this, but if it is possible, I would appreciate that. So at some point, you can get those to Emma, because then we can put them on the calendar.
We will also be meeting on the third Monday in June at 4:30.
Oh, okay.
16th.
16th.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, great. Policy Committee met on April 7th. The minutes are attached.
I think you've seen most of what we've been
Yep.
up to, but our next meeting is May 5th, 8:15 in the morning at the SAU. I'm going to get back to you on how often we're meeting, because
Yeah.
I'd rather not do marathon
Yep,
meetings.
that's totally fine. I don't care. I just want it to be public, so it doesn't matter.
Can I like reserve twice a month and then just
Sure.
cancel them as we come?
Sure.
Okay.
That's
Maybe I'll
totally
do
fine.
that. Okay.
Or every 3 weeks or whatever you want to do.
All right.
Okay, EC also met on April 7th, and we,
I provided the update at last
yes,
meeting.
that's right. We elected a chair as well, which is still Tia.
Oh, that's right, I am the chair again.
Hooray. All right. Personnel negotiations met on November 7th, but they are meeting again. When are they meeting again?
So after the last meeting, I was tasked in scheduling a meeting. So Amy and I talked about putting together a meeting and an agenda for that, and we're hoping that June 2nd, the Monday, will work in the late afternoon. Our
So
hope.
people who are on PNN, if that doesn't work for you, email John and Amy. And
You said June 2nd at what time?
June 2nd at 4:30.
Hoping for a 1-hour meeting with a hard stop at 5:30 because there's senior awards going on for the high school.
Would that be
And it's an EC.
in person?
Yeah.
Would online be a possibility?
As long as there are 3 of us.
yeah,
Okay.
as long as there's 3 in person, you could do online.
Okay.
So why don't you all just maybe email everybody? That works.
Yeah, I will
Okay.
email you all with that date and agenda back to.
Perfect. Student Wellness Advisory Committee met on January 8th. Their next meeting is May 7th at 3 p.m. HATCC's next meeting is May 6th at 11:45 a.m. Area Committee, we met on February 27th at 6 p.m. About that.
We've discussed it already. Yes. Yeah.
February 27th. Sorry, I was thinking April. Next meeting is May 20th, 6 p.m. at
I think it's at
At
Grantham.
GVS, yeah, at Grantham
Yes, and
Village
they're-
School.
we'll be meeting their new superintendent,
Oh, great.
Christine Downing, who's the new superintendent of Grantham. Plainfield and Cornish is posted, and they're looking for.
Their superintendent is leaving also, so that's fun. School District City Task Force, next meeting is May 22nd at 6 p.m. at City Hall. The Housing Task Force met on April 21st.
Yeah, there was an outreach update, like how the Housing Task Force is going to go about communicating. There was, the outside consultants were there to kind of update us on all the progress that they've been making. And what am I missing? Second part.
I was there too, and I can't remember. I'm
There
sorry.
was a second part.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion around, just kind of building that social capital and getting feedback and providing additional recommendations on who to reach out to, just to really gather a more robust understanding of the community needs.
And I think for us, they're really going to be looking for communication, pushing out, and using any school events to kind of get the word out about the Housing Task Force work and collecting information from community members via survey and so forth and so on. So Next meeting is May.
The Housing Academy was the second thing.
Housing Academy update. People gave an update on the Housing Academy. Very good, Richard. Thank you.
What is the housing?
The Housing Academy was put on by the state, and it was to kind of educate citizenry about housing in New Hampshire, kind of soup to nuts. And there was mixed reviews.
Okay. Right. Right.
More about how to convince
John, when is
people.
the next meeting?
I believe the next meeting is the 19th,
May
May
19th.
19th.
Okay. And it's at 8:15 again?
8:15 at City Council Chambers.
Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, future agenda items, board member recommendations or questions? Does anyone, Jessica, have something? What would
Somebody
you
else could go first. if
No,
they wanted to.
I think there's
Sorry.
nobody else. Go ahead.
So I was interested in having we had a presentation last year about outdoor education in the district.
Wow.
And one of the things that came up was, I think the primary resource that the district has is the Four Winds program, or that's at least one of the big ones.
And at the high school, we have the outdoor ropes course.
Yeah, okay. And I think that I had a chance to speak to the Four Winds
Coordinator.
coordinator, and I was curious if the board would be interested in a presentation, because they do a lot more than what we contract with them for. They have a lot of additional resources, they have trainings, they have different programs available. And so I was interested in having a presentation from them, either to the full board or to a committee, or some, I'm not sure where that contract lives, so I'm not really sure what the appropriate sort of thing is.
I mean, I honestly can't remember the last time I saw Perry operating. Been around, but
And I think it's paid by the individual schools.
yeah, it's in their budget.
It's in their budgets, the
But
the
if it's a
elementary
contract,
schools.
I'm still supposed to union, so.
Yeah.
I only asked because it was, I wasn't sure if there was like a particular committee, but it sounds like it's sort of building by building rather than like under education specifically or under.
Maybe at EC.
I think it's mostly for supplies, from my understanding from the Four Winds parent, like the people who do it are parents and volunteers. So you're paying for the supplies and there's probably some sort of curriculum that
Yeah.
they learn from.
So I think that's not quite what I understood, because I think that we're actually paying for part of what we're paying for is the trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
To
didn't mean
train
that.
the
You're right, yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
And I think that was that's one of the aspects I think is interesting and worth reviewing, and sort of seeing if we want to offer, like, that's a resource that could be offered in a lot of different ways. I think it's worth understanding how we're just understanding more about the program and sort of other alternatives. They do offer, again, a bunch of additional resources for teachers that we aren't taking advantage of at this point. I think some of those are either free or kind of covered by
cost.
grants or something like that. So I think, I know that we've got we're starting to look at the outdoor classroom here at the middle school. I think kind of if we, as a community, see these as valuable parts of our district, then we may want to have a better understanding of the resources available to us within our current relationships.
I can actually send that to EC. I think it'd be appropriate for that to start there. And then if they have future recommendations to expand,
Yeah.
it can be brought to the full board.
Yeah, I'm definitely supportive of having that
Yeah.
conversation.
And I have the contact information for the Four
Catherine?
Winds. No, it's
No,
for
it's
for the
Becky.
actual
It's like the actual Four
The
Winds
actual
people.
Four Winds.
Yeah, the
Okay.
executive director, I think.
Okay, sounds good.
Great, thank you.
Great.
It's been so long that I'm not finding anything in my email. We need to get a contract.
I just wanted to remind everyone, next board meeting, May 14th, we have an update on the strategic plan at 6:30. I will be sending out notification to our community at 5:30. Our community can come and give feedback on the plan as well. And then at the 28th, we will be doing a presentation on federal grants. as well, to talk about where are our federal funds, where they lie, and how much money we are relying for federal distribution. So I just wanted to put that as
That's
a
like at
reminder.
the, like prior to, during the meeting or
The
prior to the
5:30
meeting?
will be a community, 5:30 on the 14th will be a community session for the strategic plan.
Okay.
6:30, we will present what we have,
As
a
part of the meeting.
draft for the board, so you guys will have a look for yourselves. And then the following board meeting on the 28th, we will have a presentation by Karen Dubois on federal grants.
And that will be at 6:30?
That
No,
will
it's
be-
just during our regular.
Yeah, regular
like-
meeting.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or recommendations? Okay. And those are our announcements. And we do not need non-public sessions tonight. So we are almost done. Layla, did you have a question?
Sorry, this is an embarrassing question.
No.
Is the recommendation for us to be here at 5:30 to hear that talk through that plan, or that's just for the people who
That's for the
have been working
yeah,
on
that's
it?
for the community members too, if you want to
Okay.
be a part of, they're going to be getting feedback, the likes, wonders, dislikes, and then we'll have an opportunity to have sort of our own session as well, so.
Okay.
You don't have to be here if you don't want to, but you can.
I just have to coordinate for
Yeah.
pickup, so
Yeah.
It's up to you.
I want to
You'll
know
get the same message,
the
right? You'll
degree
get
of
more
what-
of an
okay.
opportunity to
Thank
answer
you.
questions with, from the board perspective.
Good. All right, so then I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. I don't know why everyone looks at me.
All right, motion
think
by
I do know everyone
Richard.
looks at
I
me.
need a second.
Second.
Second by John. All those in favor? All right.